Welcome back to LittleLee and Rose. My name is Summer Noel, and today we're going to do a really beautiful alcohol ink style tumbler. We are going to do our beer hider or a bottle hider. So you can put a bottle in here. It could be a bottle of whatever. This could be kombucha. We don't know. And you stick the bottle in there. It's got an insulator in there. And then you can screw the bottom on. Then it has a top that actually has a stopper. So if you open your bottle, it will twist down on your bottle and keep your bottle so it won't spill. It's actually a really cool little tumbler here. But you can do this technique on any tumbler. You can do it on glass, plastic. You can work on your double-walled tumblers. You can work on your stainless steel, anything. This style will go on any cup. I'm just happen to be working on this style cup because it's fun. I want to show them off to you guys. They come in the swag bags. They're super fun. All right, so we are going to take this guy. We're going to tilt him upside down. We're going to balance that guy right there. We've got our epoxy mixed. This is part A and part B already mixed. We are going to do the hang method to attach our glitter. If you don't know how to shop for epoxy for this style cup, one, I highly recommend you reaching out to my Facebook group and joining because we will educate you very, very strongly. And you need to have FDA compliant epoxy. You also need to be wearing your safety gear. You need to be wearing your nitrile gloves and your chemical mask. That's why I'm a little bit muffled and sound like Darth Vader, guys. I have my chemical mask on. My workshop is closed. It's early in the morning. Now we're going to do something called hang method. Hang method is what I have created to be able to hang the cup, apply the epoxy, and apply the glitter. It's not a fancy name, guys. Hang method. It explains itself in its title. So I hang the lid. You can see I've got it on its little stand, but I'm holding it also with my fingers so I can smear this epoxy. This is a mixed equal parts. I believe I'm working with Pro Marine and this one. I do like Pro Marine. It's a very good beginner's epoxy. You've got to make sure you buy the FDA compliant tabletop Pro Marine. And I'm basically just smearing that tiny, tiny touch of epoxy to give it a sticky exterior to grab onto that glitter. So we're just going around the cup and basically wiping this like minuscule amount of epoxy, guys. You do not, if it's easy to do this, you've got way too much epoxy. This should be a job. You should be working hard to push that epoxy. Okay, now I'm just going to get a little bit on my finger. And we're going to do the same thing on this cup. We're going to rub it around and we're going to slide it down the cup. So basically just going to get a nice super thin layer of epoxy all the way around. Okay, now guys, what we're going to do is we are going to take this. What you just saw me do was just finish up the process of putting the epoxy on that cup. Now we're going to take this chunky, beautiful, opalescent chunky. This is our Curtis. He is a chunky fine mix. Or he's a chunky mix, sorry. He's a chunky mix of all the different sizes of chunkies, but he's got the little chunkies in there too. It's a beautiful, beautiful white, very opalescent, super sparkly. We're doing this, we're just going around and we've attached him onto that sticky surface that we've applied to the cup. And now we're just pressing all the big pieces down so they don't stick up. If they stick up, it makes it real hard to cover it with epoxy. I'm just running my finger along the edge here so we don't have any hanging on the outside edge. And there you go. So we're going to leave that guy just chilling on the drying rack. Doesn't even have to be straight up and down. Doesn't matter. Okay. And now we're going to do my little trick. This is the folded parchment paper, guys. It's very easy. It's just in the baking department of the grocery store. Makes it really easy to pick up and keep working with your glitter because you don't have to try to fold the paper. It's already folded for you. So now we're just going to sprinkle this around, shimmy it on the cup. It's been a while since I worked with Curtis on a white base. Usually I put him on a colored base and change his color. Curtis will take on the attributes of whatever you base color your cup. So if you base color it with teal, this will start to look like a teal glitter. He's a very versatile glitter. That's why I like working with it. It's super duper sparkly, and because you get those incredible colors when you work with the different spray paint colors, you kind of have it's a very versatile cup because, I mean, a versatile glitter, you can use one glitter for all different types of styles. So Curtis is a good one. Also Joshua, if you're looking at our website, Joshua is a really good irregular cut glitter. Same thing, it's an opalescent, so it takes on the features of the glitter, the color behind it. So you can see I've taped off the threads of the cup. I've done that so that it can screw on easily. We don't want to get any epoxy or glitter stuck down into that area. So now I'm just pressing the glitter down just like I do with the other chunkies and how I did with the base. We're just pressing the glitter. Now you can use Mod Podge, you can use Loctite, you can use all different things for this. I just find this is what I find to be the most efficient way and best way to get glitter onto your tumbler. It's opinion. You don't have to agree. That's fine. Do it your favorite way. If you're already an epoxy resin artist and you're already doing these and you have a special way, do it that way. This is just my suggestion and how I like it. All right, so I know that I didn't really get any epoxy down here. I normally would pull this, but because I did my hang method and I know I just went from here down, there's no epoxy on this. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this tape. But if you get epoxy over the lip and it's touching this tape and the cup, you need to remove the tape and then just retape it again once it's all cured up before you do the next layer of epoxy. Now, like I said, I'm a time saver person, so I know that I did not get epoxy on it, so I'm not gonna pull it. Now we're just gonna let this sit for about 6 hours, and then we're gonna epoxy over the top of it. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to LittleLee and Rose. We are going to keep working on our our bottle hider. We've got it done and with the hang method and one layer of epoxy. You can see I've got my epoxy already mixed, my A and B. Let's see, you're going to hear a lot of turner noise because I've got about 9 turners going on around me. So it's inevitable that there's going to be some noise from the spinning turners. They're all quiet turners, but there's a lot of them going. So we are rocking and rolling on the tutorials today, guys. So we're going to just apply this with our silicone brush all over and get a nice coating right over this big chunky glitter. Now, I'm not going to worry about trying to get this super coated in the first coat. I'm going to put a nice heavy layer on to coat the chunky glitter, but we will probably have to do just a touch of sanding. That's okay. Chunky glitter, that's what you got to do. It's beautiful, but it takes a little extra work. So there we go. Let's make sure this comes all the way down to the bottom as it spins around. And all the way around the top. And get this little section up here. We're just slowly going to coat the whole thing. It's a little bit tedious getting in all these little bits and pieces, but it is ultimately for the best results. Okay. There's a little bit of epoxy building up in the little edge right here. So I'm just dragging some of it out and pushing it towards the bottom of the tumbler. Okay. Then we have this beauty, and we are going to hang method this one. So we're just going to take a little bit of epoxy and rub it on just in hang method like we did to do the base. You saw I used about 2 mLs, which I usually use for the entire cup. But when you're trying to cover chunky glitter, you need a little bit more than normal. So we're just using the full 2 mLs just to kind of go over this glitter, hold it in place. A touch more. All right, so now that's going to cure up as well. We'll leave these 2 sitting just like this. Let me clean my hand. We'll do our torch a little bit. We'll do some torching. Let's see. Ah! That was, what a freak accident that was. Okay, so this is the neoprene from inside this little thing. Wah! Oh my gosh, the chances of that happening twice. Okay, that's really funny. Stuck, a little bit of stickiness stuck to my thumb. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to remove any of these really large pieces of glitter that are sticking way out. The small ones I'm not going to worry about. It's just going to be the really big pieces that are causing some major problems. That was just a bubble. Because this is going to be a peekaboo, guys, you won't even notice. If it's not full coverage, it's okay. For this cup, you don't need it to be crazy, crazy coated in glitter for your first layer. You just want some shimmer sparkle, and we essentially just wanted it white in the background. All right, so there we go. So let's get our torch out. Oh, get on. All right, so now we're going to torch just like we always do. I've got my chemical mask on, my nitrile gloves. We're being safe. You want to be in a well-ventilated area. A bedroom with the door closed is not good enough if you have a whole house vent system, because the fumes from these chemicals can go through your ventilation system if you have your heating or air conditioning on. So you want to have a window open. You want to be in an open air space. Or you want to have a really good ventilation system. If you work in your house, you can always start in your house and then move it out to another space. I move my cups all over the place. That's why I don't like the multi-cup turners, guys. Because I like to be able to individually maneuver my cup turners wherever I need them to be. And if they're one big hunk, they don't tend to move well. It makes your life a little harder. I like all these individual turners. So if I need space in one area, I can move them to that area. All right, guys, we're going to let this one just roll and cure, and we'll be back. Oh, that fly almost landed on the cup. All right, guys, we'll see you soon. All right, guys, we are back, and we have the decals to apply to our beautiful glitter. We have a nice, really decently smooth surface. I'm not too worried about some of the little bumps and lumps because we will get that all taken care of at the end. We're going to keep putting more layers of epoxy, so little bumps I'm not worried about because we're going to keep covering it. So now what I'm going to do is I have reverse beaded these beautiful butterflies. They're big geometric butterflies. There was a lot of intricacy. So basically what I did was I cut the butterfly on my Cricut cutting machine. Then I cut it out and around the edges, placed it onto my transfer sheet. I used my, I call it my card to rub it down, my squeegee to rub it down tight to the vinyl. And then I actually removed the backing and sat with my fine point tweezers, and I pulled all the small little pieces out. And we pulled out the outside rim. Now I did that for all three of them. I also used my weeding tool. All these tools, guys, these two can be found on our website. They are great for weeding and working. And so I'm gonna go ahead and drop this one butterfly down. I'm gonna rub it down really well because we're gonna be spray painting a base onto this cup over the top of it, and we don't want the paint going underneath the vinyl. So we want to make sure the vinyl is stuck down across the entire surface of the cup really, really well. And then we're going to spray paint it. So we're just giving it extra rubs and pressure to push it down super solid onto that surface. All right, then we're going to go ahead and peel away. So there is our first decal. We're going to set this off to the side. Now, if you look very closely, I'm not sure if it shows on camera, there was a few little pieces that I could have removed in the head of the butterfly, but I know ultimately that's going to make it look a little awkward, those tiny little dots. So I actually left them in there. I did not weed those pieces out. So I left those intentionally. So now we're going to add our other butterflies. Let me see this one. I was thinking maybe one would be small enough for the outside, but I'm only going to add, I couldn't decide if I wanted 2 or 3. Let's add this one first. I'm going to stick this one here. His top of his wing is kind of go loop over the top. Here. Again, same with this one. We want to rub really, really well. We don't want any paint going underneath the decal. Perfect. I don't want this to be too busy, so maybe I will just leave the third one off, because I could, in theory, kind of squeeze this third one in there, either here or there, but then I think it's going to be a little too busy of a pattern. Let's go for it. Okay, we're going to go for it. I weeded this darn thing. We're going to use it. It's going to make it very busy, but I think it's going to kind of look cool. So we're going to lay them down. Butterflies are busy, aren't they? They just go from flower to flower. Busy as bees. All right, here we go. We got them laid down. Beautiful. All right, we're going to set this all up to the side. And now we're going to tape off this bottom section and get it prepped for the next step. All right, guys, we are back. We're going to work on the bottom of the tumbler now. This is the bottom of the can hider, the bottle hider. We've got a couple little drips here from it hanging upside down for the hang method. Just a few, a little bit of bulbs on the bottom, and we're going to take our hot knife and we're just going to cut those off. Now, the hot knife is really, really cool tool. You always want to cut away from yourself. The heat helps it just slide through the epoxy. Just like that. And take off any little extra bumps. And the heat just kind of melts through the epoxy. So I'm just making sure the whole edge of this tumbler is clear, so that it can screw onto the bottom and be a nice tight finish. You don't want to have it not butt straight up against. You want it to fit nice and snug right up on it. So we're just basically taking the hot knife and running it along the inside edge of here and cutting off anything that could potentially be like a drip hanging down. All right, it was that simple. Didn't have very much, just a little, because we're using very, very little product with a hang method. I am wearing my mask, guys. This one makes it a little easier for you guys to hear me. I don't know why, but I have multiple masks, and this one's the easiest to hear me. So I'm wearing it today. Then we're going to take our sandpaper. This is 320 grit. And we're just going to sand it down a bit. I don't want to sand all the way to glitter. We're just trying to sand off any of the rough bumps and lumps. We're going to keep adding more hang method layers to this tumbler as we go, as we're adding more layers of epoxy to that. Because I'm actually going to leave this glittered. I am not going to cover this with paint. I'm choosing the option to leave it bare and have it accent the little bit of glitter that's going to peek through with the butterflies. It's going to kind of tie the cup together. But it's a personal preference, guys. You can paint over this and alcohol ink it as well. Do what you want with it. It's your cup. So basically right now what I'm doing is I'm just knocking off any little sharp pieces. There's a piece here that's going to have to go with hot knife. It's sticking up real bad. Okay. We have the hot knife listed in our Amazon store, you guys. It is a really good price. You can also find it at crafting shops. in the wood aisle. They are usually generally tend to be used for wood burning. Sorry, I'm just knocking that. It was just a big piece of chunky glitter that was sticking straight out. So I use my my hot knife almost every day. It really, really helps me fine-tune my tumblers and get all smooth surfaces and pull away any extra epoxy that isn't necessary in a certain spot. Just like what you guys just saw me do with that little piece of glitter. It just helped me lift that little bit of glitter off. All right, guys, I'm going to finish sanding this up. We'll be right back. All right, guys, here we go. We've got this cup part done. This one, we've got our layer of the hang method on it. I'm going to just keep adding layers as I go. But like I said, I'm going to leave this actually glittered. And when we pull these butterflies away, the glitter behind those is going to kind of accent by these. I just think it's going to be kind of cool. Just a fun little design thing. Now we're going to use our ink blotter. I've got my blending solution. I've got my ink spray, and I've also got my inks. These are 3 of these are pearlescent. So we've got Villainous, Enchanted, and Intrigue that are all pearlescent. I store them upside down so the pearlescent is at the top so it shakes up a lot easier. And then we have the Pinata Color Senorita Magenta. And then we have the 2 spray alcohol inks. So I'm just shaking these up a little bit, give them a little, you can hear the little ball in there. That's going to help mix up the pearlescence. You always want to give them a shake before you use them. We're just going to kind of do pinks and purples on this one and just have fun. Let's start with purple. Oh, we got the pearlescence is blocking the tip. All right, so we got the tip unclogged. We're just going to add our purple here on the side. And we're just going to blot it around using the spongy kind of effect. Okay. Now we're going to set this up. Move this out of the way. All right, so now we've got the purple. Now let's do some of the hot pink. All right, and we're going to take the pink and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to splotch it around. Get it on the cup in all the different places. Blend it into the purple. This is just a fun little blotting technique. We're not doing anything crazy, just getting it on the cup. The glitter itself is going to be the show. You want to make sure you get along the underneath edge. Get all that bit done real well. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to set that back up. We are going to use our Enchanted. I always call this one Flamingo, even though it's not called Flamingo. I call it Flamingo because it looks like a flamingo. And we're going to take the Flamingo, Enchanted, and we are going to put this in all the left spots that are left. This is a super fun color. It's kind of a coral, like a light coral or salmon color. It's going to fill in all the cracks real well. I don't think I've used this color with you guys before. I think this is my first time showing off Enchanted on camera with you guys. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just kind of finding the spots that are still white and I'm dabbing it into those spots. We want to get it up on the rim, around the edge. We don't want any white spots, really. I'm laughing. You can hear my air freshener. My air freshener just sprayed. I didn't fart, I promise. It's my air freshener. That's what they all say, right? Woo-wee. Okay. So we're just filling in all the gaps. All right, make sure that the underneath is done. This little edge, there's no white, because that will show once we put epoxy on this, that's gonna like highlight that because it'll be shiny. So we're just gonna do a real quick twist, and wherever I see a little bit of white, I'm gonna splotch. Well, there, because we want to make sure we have good coverage and no white. Looking good, looking good. It's a little bit light right here. Okay. How beautiful is this enchanted color though? Oh, it's so gorgeous. Okay, so then we just want to make sure we go around the edge up here. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to set these off to the side. So those were our pearls. I had a fourth color, but the pearls covered it all, so we're good on that. So now I'm going to set up my work mat, and I'm going to show you guys the next step. All right, now we're going to take the purple ink spray. I'm going to give it a little shake just to make sure all the ink is mixed up in there. And it's a little misting bottle, and I'm going to pump it out, make sure it's ready, and then I'm going to hold it about 8 inches away and pump. Okay. And then blow. Kind of makes it look like firecrackers. And as you're blowing, you're also drying it. You can use compressed air if you wish. I have a good set of lungs on me from chasing triplets and yelling at them. All right. All right, guys, we're going to start doing the reveal. We're going to start pulling up this butterfly. We've got all of our alcohol inks down. I was going to do a kind of a... Oh, boy, look at what I just did. I scratched it. See, so here's the problem with having triplets. When you do these, guys, you want to finish the project out. You want to actually put the vinyl down and lift it within a couple hours. I had to leave mine sitting overnight. It's a lot harder to pull the vinyl up. So you actually want to pull the vinyl up as soon as you can. It makes it just a little bit easier. So you can see I'm having a little bit of a tough time with it coming up because now it's got a really good adhesion to the cup. I scratched the surface right there, which before I even pull that up, I'm going to actually go in and repair that little spot. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take my little ink blotter, going to blot where I scratched the surface to fix the little scratch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit and just slowly pull up this vinyl, slow and steady, to reveal that gorgeous glitter behind. All right, guys, we're going to do it on high speed because it's tedious. But what I do is I get my fine tip points, tweezers underneath. Just carefully work it underneath that vinyl till I can get a little tail. Then I lift it, and then we start pulling. These tweezers are amazing because they're kind of like fine detailed tweezers. And so they can get in and get all those little pieces and really grab. Then I just take it down inside my weeding ring, and I put it through the middle, slide it to the edge, and pull out, and it leaves the vinyl inside the weeding ring so I don't have to mess with it. I'm going to see how much of these wings I can pull up in one big piece. Okay. So kind of just like that, guys, we're going to pull this vinyl up and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so now what we're going to do with this is we are going to take this outside. We are going to put this on our spray paint handle. Again, it's just a pipe with a pool noodle on it. I use it to spray paint. I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to do a nice clear coat of spray paint over the top. I was going to do a spritz, like I said, over the top, but I decided I actually like this way. I like the way that looks. I'm really digging it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it just like this. We've weeded it all out. Now we are going to go ahead and clear coat spray paint it. The reason you want to add a layer of clear coat spray paint is because if you put epoxy directly on top of this alcohol ink, it will all blur and smear. So we're going to take a clear coat spray paint, cover the top, and make a layer between the epoxy and the ink. It basically makes a barrier so that the epoxy does not mess up our alcohol ink sponging. All right, guys, we'll be right back. All right, guys, we came outside because the sun is just beautiful today and it's middle of January and we're getting this gorgeous sun. So I wanted to be outside and just show off the incredible sparkle of Curtis. Now, this guy is all done. He is ready to go. You can unscrew the bottom, slide your soda pop in there or your beer or whatever you want to put in there, and he will hide it and keep it nice and cold. All right, guys, I hope you learned something fun and new on this one. I love this one. I might keep it for myself, even though I've got a couple people putting dibs on it. Butterfly lovers and just somebody who wants to take it to a festival. So maybe I'll let them borrow it. We'll see. I don't know. But yep, this one was a really, really fun cup. I hope you guys learned some new tips and tricks, and I'll see you guys on the next tutorial. Bye, guys.